What's up, guys? So we are back for another family talk. We haven't done one of these in a while. The last one we did was talking all about natural childbirth and having children and dealing with kids kind of deal. That's what we talked about. So my wife is here with me, and today we're going to talk about mainly chiropractic care, but also about B vitamins and how those relate. But mainly we're just going to talk about chiropractic. I'm going to start out talking about my first chiropractic experience. I never saw a chiropractor in my life until I was married, and I was probably around 30 years old before 34. My first. And 34, yeah. My wife works for a chiropractic office as a chiropractic assistant, and the average age of somebody who has a chiropractic visit is what? Isn't it something like 45 or something like that? Do you know that statistic off the top of your head? No? Mm-mm. I think that's what it is. And then, like, in comparison, the first dental visit in comparison is like maybe 8 is the average or something like that. So if we really put our teeth health way that far ahead of, spinal alignment and adjustments, where would our health be if we put it in higher priority than dental care? Mm-hmm. Some of the history I know about chiropractic care was one of the first chiropractic care adjustments was an individual who ended up either regaining his sight or his hearing.
With one adjustment.
Yeah, their first adjustment, the person regained their hearing. Pretty cool. Other than that, my first experience, as I was getting into, I remember I mainly went there because I had a lot of troubles falling asleep. I was pretty much an insomniac, mm-hmm. but not clinically diagnosed or anything, right? Tell
them when you would go to bed, though.
Yeah, I had adrenal fatigue for sure. I also would stay up all night, maybe would be able to sleep either around 3 a.m., 4 a.m., sometimes I couldn't even sleep until 6. And then, it just ends up that I slept all day. Mm-hmm. Wasn't able to do much at all. Always had evening shifts.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
definitely a night owl.
I would be at work, and I wouldn't hear from him until like 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We were on such opposite schedules.
So I actually, in Kansas City, went and saw Bisson Chiropractic at that time for my first adjustment, mm-hmm. and Dr. Shane Bisson is an awesome guy. He now runs Catalyst Chiropractic, health center, where they do a lot of other things besides just the chiropractic care. Mm-hmm. They actually sent me an automated happy birthday text message this past week, which mm-hmm. was pretty cool, even though I know it's a little computer that did it. I got adjusted. And my first adjustment, I remember I had a headache for maybe 2 or 3 days. And it was kind of rough. But I've still seen a lot of benefits from overall chiropractic care. It's helped out our whole family. For me, one of the major things since I had lower spine issues is that I saw a major improvement in my sex life. And
I'm glad you talked about that.
Who wouldn't want that benefit, right? Mm-hmm. Because, your spinal cord is responsible for all those things that are going on in your body, and if you're not sending a good signal to your brain, then you're not getting the full potential. Mm-hmm. It's like, imagine a dripping faucet compared to a raging waterfall. That's mm-hmm. what I remember at Dr. Bisson's office. Yep. He had that picture on the wall. I don't know if it's still at Catalyst, mm-hmm. because their redesign and their remake it's a beautiful office. I haven't seen too many offices that compare to that, really. Mm-hmm. Since then, I've been to a lot of other chiropractors. There's a chiropractor we used to go see that was very affordable, but that was kind of a
you're in, you're about it.
Yeah, you're in, you're out. It's not 100% corrective care.
Definitely not.
What does corrective care mean?
So, good question, honey. So there's, I don't know the exact number. There's many, many, many different chiropractic theories, and of them, only 5% of chiropractors actually practice corrective chiropractic, which is actually spinal alignment, like correcting spinal structure so that your body does function at its fullest potential in every area. So this is like, for example, getting rid of allergies, or say you have ADHD and depression and anxiety, that can be pretty much reversed. Anything with a thyroid can be greatly affected with chiropractic adjustments in a good way. So, but all of that can only really take place if it's done with a corrective chiropractor. So it requires frequency, because the spine is so used to being in one position for so long, so that you have to continuously, frequently put it back into the correct position, and then over time your body starts to mold and hold this new position to where you don't have to go so often. And it varies on each person's spine when they come in, but in a brief way, that is what corrective chiropractic is.
So it's basically chiropractic care, trying to get your body into the best position for you,
to
optimal position for your spine, which basically is like a 45-degree curve 3 times, right? There's a 45 in your upper, 45 in your middle, and 45 in your lower.
Yep, and then in your neck you want to have the arc of life, which is 42, between 42 and 45 at the bottom to the top, and then at the very top, which is your atlas, you want that to be at a 24. Pretty sure.
So the specifics, you could check out somewhere else, but the arc of life that Nikki just brought up was pretty amazing. I really love learning about the arc of life, and it's basically that first curve in your neck. It's so crucial that if you want your brain to communicate with the rest of your body, that's the first area it has to go through.
Yep.
And a lot of people as they age, or a lot of people in general today in our society, always looking down at their phones or looking at their laptops, completely screwing up that curve. A lot of people have no curve, negative curve.
Absolutely.
And
it used to be really, really rare that a male would come in and we would take the x-rays of the neck, and for him to have a reverse neck curve was just very rare. I have seen so many men come into our office and have reverse neck curves, but a lot of that is actually due to what's called text neck, and just poor posture in our day and age. We're always on laptops, we're on computers that aren't high enough for our necks and all that. And in addition to this, this is really sad, and I get really aware of it with our kids since they're little, but you could never really tell degeneration in a child really until they were like in their 30s. But now there are actually x-rays where they can see degeneration in their cervical spine, so in their neck, at 9 years old, because they're constantly looking at iPads, or just their head is always down. So whenever our kids are watching something, our TV is mounted on the wall so that they're always looking up. But it's just a really horrifying fact, because if you don't understand why that's so bad, it's because those nerves are going to their brain, they're going to their heart, their lungs, adrenal glands, thyroid. So all that stuff is going to be subluxated or misaligned because of the incorrect posture, which then puts pressure on a nerve, which then that nerve doesn't send all the full signals, which then those organs are really being depleted of blood supply and nutrients and a whole bunch of things. So it greatly affects how they are going to mature and what health issues they could or couldn't have. So it's pretty alarming.
We got our daughter adjusted for the first time around 4 or 5 months as soon as she came out of the NICU. We actually it's a very different adjustment for a newborn than it is for a lot of other people and adults and children. It's not, very gentle.
Yeah, it's not a thrust like you would see on an adult. It's more of a
gentle stimulus, right?
Pressure,
yeah, gentle pressure.
Yeah.
One of the things we saw immediate improvement with our daughter was she was having acid reflux, and they want to put you on PPIs, which that can cause a lot of different health issues later on in life, depending on how long they put you on that. In general, like, that's the wrong approach for acid reflux because it reduces acid most of the time. The problem is low acid.
Yeah.
So you're not doing yourself justice, and you're making problems worse.
Yeah.
In my opinion, but you do you. And then our son, he got adjusted.
His was really crazy. He got adjusted more frequently and more consistently throughout his first year of life. Evelyn started to develop a I don't like you kind of thing with chiropractors, mostly I think because she kept getting woken up
it was funny
in between her naps when she would get adjusted. So I think she just was
she'd
really
get woke
pissed.
up by Dr. Shane and just be like, not this guy again.
Yeah, she's like, why every time that I'm woken up is it this dude? So she actually resisted for a while. But Luke, he had an amazing adjustment. He wasn't crawling, and he was well in the age where he could crawl. He was 10 months. And one of the chiropractors that I work with currently, she had him on the table. She adjusted his hips. She knew that his hips were really locked up, and I think his shoulders as well, but more so his hips. And she was like, is he, what was it? It was a specific type of crawl. Is he army crawling yet? And I said, no, he's not crawling. And after she adjusted him, she goes, he should definitely be crawling anytime now. And I was saying like a week or two. I wasn't thinking like suddenly. And literally within like 5 minutes of him getting off the table, he's army crawling around the office. And it was incredible. That was one of the most speedy turnarounds I think I've ever seen with chiropractic. So that was really cool. And
then he was the Chiropractic Kid of the Month, which some offices do that. Yep. Yours in particular does. Yep. So chiropractic definitely helped with that. I noticed once we got a disc hydrator at home, and I started using that more frequently, I noticed my sinuses cleared a lot faster. And it just felt better for a lot of reasons. It was awesome that I was able to find, usually they sell for how much? 150? Something like that.
80 to 100.
80 somewhere, okay. And you found ours at a thrift store for $10, $9.
It was like $4
or $5.
Yeah.
So technically it's a medical device, is it? Or does it not actually qualify as a medical device?
I don't know if you can say that, but it was. There's controversy about it. But.
My only point was I don't think it was technically legal for them to resell it at a thrift store, but whatever, we got the deal anyways.
We've had other patients find them at
thrift
stores.
Thrift stores might not know, they might not care, but anyways, the one thing I did notice when I started doing it every single day, like 5 minutes at a time, which you should be doing from the start of your adjustments, it's difficult for me because usually I'm keeping an eye on the kiddos, running around, chasing them, whatever. But I noticed that my neck would kind of get thrown out, or if I turned my head too quickly, then it might be a little uncomfortable. And I think that's basically just because I was putting nice curve into my neck, but my muscles weren't really trained to hold that placement very well. So I reduced the time just a little bit, and I still do that every single day as much as possible. And I mean, sometimes I still forget. But it makes such a huge difference for a lot of those things.
And what he's talking about specifically, there's a unit that you will lay on your floor. It has an air bladder, and you put the base of your neck over this air bladder and then pump it up to a certain level. And all it's doing is putting a curve into your neck. The more and more you do this, just like the repetition with actual adjustments, your neck will start to memorize these positions that are super good for you. There's a couple other things that are like this, but like some of them hang over the door, but this is actually not putting a curve into your neck. It's actually just, in a way, stretching the neck. It's called distraction. But what Chuck is talking about is actually doing traction, which puts the curve into the neck.
I'm pretty sure they sell it on Amazon, and I can put an affiliate link in the description if anybody's interested. No big deal if you're not. Don't really care.
Or you can also order it from our office.
Yeah.
Anyways, so yeah, traction is super, super good for you. A lot of times, you actually won't receive a whole lot of benefit in your, not a lot of time, but they go hand in hand. So if you're not doing adjustments with the traction, you won't see a whole lot of benefit, but you could, just because you're still actually doing it. You're implementing that same process. But mostly what I'm talking about is if you're doing adjustments and you're not doing traction, there's so much tension at the base of your neck that goes down to the middle of your back and low back that if you're not doing those adjustments, or if you're not doing the traction, you're not helping your adjustments be received in a way because your neck muscles are so tight and they need to be put in a new position. So anyways, highly encourage traction if you're going to do adjustments.
And then other than traction,
massage.
Massage is great for sure. I just we've been to a lot of chiropractic offices where they sell additional supplements, and it's amazing that some of these places don't sell B complex supplements. So B vitamins are the main vitamins that you need for overall nerve health.
Right.
So you go to these offices and they sell you other stuff that, sure, it may be beneficial, it may be helpful, but it's like not key to their care, which the B vitamins would be so key, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's all those things that my wife brought up earlier about mood, depression, anxiety, all these things could also be benefited just by B vitamins.
It's like if you walk into a dentist's office and they don't have any recommendation for a toothbrush or toothpaste. Yeah,
it's like every single time I went to a dental office, anytime I wanted a toothbrush or a toothpaste, they were like, yeah, we got samples, here you go, take those,
right.
You know?
Right.
And it's like to show up at these chiropractic offices where you can get your essential oil fix on the desk, or
mm-hmm.
your multivitamin or other stuff that I'm like, why in the world would they be selling that there?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, we've seen all kinds of gear at every single one of these chiropractors we've been to.
Like foot, like inserts for your shoes. We've seen
a pillow that they suggest.
Pillows.
Sure, I understand that.
We've seen their own like
life extension. That's like in almost every single chiropractic office, almost.
There's so many things that they sell. But
Plexus, we've seen, right? We've seen, what was the other? Protandem, yeah. A bunch of different herbs.
Yeah. There's so many that are out there. But again, like, it's just so astonishing to see them not put out B vitamins, because it's like the essential building block for your nervous system. It's just crazy.
Yeah, I made a top 3 video. Like, I've got a series on my playlist called Top 3, and it's just where I recommend best things for XYZ. You know, nerve health is one of the top 3 videos I made, where I talk about the benefits of lion's mane, a medicinal mushroom where if you take that, studies show it can actually help you create and grow new neurons,
mm-hmm. which
until recent history, nobody thought that was possible.
Mm-hmm.
B vitamins can help you better digest and metabolize your food. It can help you, you know, with all those things we already mentioned, especially emotional and physical well-being.
Absolutely.
The best thing about B vitamins is you're really never going to overdose on them either. They're so water soluble. If there's any issues that do arise,
mm-hmm.
your body can eliminate them easily.
Mm-hmm. Now, it might be a belief among some chiropractors that once you do fully put the spine in alignment, that you won't need certain supplements. And to a certain degree, I understand, because I do believe that the body is fully capable of healing itself and fully capable of providing everything that it needs to function. However, I don't think for the majority of the population that is a true thing. I think we're all deficient in some sort of mineral or vitamin. And I think a lot of us are deficient in B vitamins. And my husband jokes about this, but it's so funny.
It's true.
Something will happen where someone is snippy or someone's emotional or whatever the case is, something's happening, and he goes, they probably just need more B vitamins. And honestly, I don't disagree. I think there's so many people out there that just don't know the power of B vitamins. And over the past couple weeks, I've been feeling like severe anxiety. I'm getting adjusted here and there. I am like almost 9 months pregnant, so I'm getting adjusted as much as I can tolerate. But I'm feeling a lot of anxiety, and so I took 2 or 3 B vitamins over yesterday, and my anxiety was completely gone. And it was that fast of a turnaround for me. So it's quite amazing that it's just not provided in chiropractic offices. But
it's not even discussed. I don't think I've ever had a chiropractic doctor suggest a B vitamin to me in my life. Nobody at all has ever been like, B vitamins.
Yeah.
However, there's one chiropractic doctor on YouTube where I actually filmed a video the other day about things to remember while doing a parasite cleanse or something like that. Or, it was my how I've been doing after 6 months of parasite cleanses. And I talked about how anxious and nervous I had been. And right after I made that video and uploaded it, Dr. Eric Berg has this video that pops up that says, what to do about overwhelming feelings of impending doom. And he goes, take B vitamins. It's like a 2-minute video. And that's what he says. And it's absolutely the truth. And, I've lost some nutrients while doing these parasite cleanses, these detoxes, which I feel a lot better in some ways, but there was a little while there we were low on B vitamins. I didn't get new ones, and I got out of habit of taking them. And I took like 4 B vitamins, B complex 100s, in one day, and boom, feeling great, overwhelmingly positive outlook, no anxiety, no trouble, no depression, no worry.
Yeah.
It's that fast. It's that easy. And they're so safe.
Yeah. And my doctor that I work with, he says this a lot, that pain is, whether that's emotional pain like depression or sadness or anxiety, or it's physical pain is a really good thing, because it is giving you that signal that whatever is going on, you need to stop, So it's like a notification from your body saying, hey, we need to fix this, or don't continue doing that. And so I think when you get the depression and the anxiety, it shouldn't be, oh, I need to go to my MD and find out what kind of prescription they can put me on. It's, why am I getting all of a sudden depressed or dealing with anxiety, and I've never dealt with it before, or it's been a really long time and now I'm having it come back again. Why is this happening? You should immediately think, at least in my opinion, oh, my body might be deficient in something. Maybe I should look into that, And then also real quick, since we're talking about B vitamins, niacin is one of the specific vitamins that is really, really, really key. And I'll let my husband talk about that, but specifically we've seen so many people benefit from it. I know that I used to, when I worked at a women's clinic, I recommended that this woman who is having schizophrenic episodes, I recommended that she take niacin, and really just to continue going until she felt like she got nauseous, and that's actually like the playbook on it, like that's how you know you have too much. Anyways, and all of her episodes stopped. She was happy. She didn't feel the fear or anything that she was experiencing. She had a huge drastic change within her emotions and her mental abilities and stance. So it's not just like taking a B complex, it's like all the different types of B vitamins that are so important for you. Do you have anything to add to that? So
the main book is Niacin, The Real Story, which is all about Dr. Abram Hoffer. I made a video about that.
He's an amazing man.
And Dr. Andrew Saul has he's got a ton of videos out there, but he also has a website called Doctor Yourself. He wrote a book, one of my favorites. When I hear ridiculous doctor stories, I'm always like, that reminds me of my favorite book, Fire Your Doctor, by Andrew Saul. But anyways, niacin is amazing. And the thing about B vitamins, I say this all the time, if anybody asks me questions about it, is they work together like a good baseball team. You need the entire baseball team to get the full effect. Yeah. It's kind of like chiropractic care, because if your whole spine isn't working, your whole body's not working.
Absolutely.
So you need not just to get one part of your adjustment, but probably your whole adjustment, which actually leads into another interesting thing about Atlas adjusters. There's a type of chiropractic care out there where people focus only on adjusting your Atlas. And that's pretty interesting.
It's really cool. The reason why that is a practice is because your Atlas is the very top bone in your spine. And where it is, it sits right below your occiput, which is just the base of your skull, basically. And it is shaped like kind of like a layer of an onion. So there's like a hole in the middle, but the bone is circular. And so what goes through that hole is your brain stem. So if your Atlas is tilted or shifted to the left or to the right, it automatically reduces function from your brain stem because it's pinching it. So the whole practice of just Atlas adjusting is that once you adjust that, really everything should start to function again. And I've seen tremendous results from it personally, but I've also heard amazing stories about different chiropractors going to Haiti or different missions trips and having people carried to the table, and then they do that one Atlas adjustment and they literally walk off the table. It's incredible, and it makes sense because it's coming off of the brainstem. I, however, still believe that it is necessary to adjust all the misalignments within the spine, just because I don't believe that if you just adjust the Atlas, it's going to adjust, a misaligned segment in your lumbars. It just doesn't make sense to me. So I think it is necessary to do the whole spine, but still Atlas adjustments are pretty insane.
So there's a doctor on YouTube, I saw a video where he talked about if your Atlas is in order, then your body is able to send signals to the rest to gradually bring the spine into the proper alignment. So
and I think that it's possible.
It's possible, and that's one viewpoint. It might take longer, but this guy's argument was that the Atlas adjustment is the most important because it's the most effective, and over time you'll be able to hold it longer. But I think the more care that you give your spine, the better, of course, as long as it's corrective and it's going in the right direction and such. One of the things I wanted to talk about, too, is so many people, and myself in particular, I was a bit scared to get adjusted.
Sure, I was
because
too.
So many people, my brother-in-law, Chris, right? He's a flight paramedic, was that? And he would tell stories of some people who had a bad chiropractic adjustment. And
it was rare. It's not like he went to the freaking chiropractic office and picked up someone every day. Maybe 1 or 2 times he picked up someone who had an adjustment, and then they would have, I think the most common thing, even though it's still really rare, is have a stroke.
So I don't think that could possibly be related, in my opinion.
I can tell you why it is.
Well, just because B vitamins can help prevent stroke. Sure. Niacin can help prevent stroke. Serapeptase could help clear your arteries and possibly prevent stroke, heart disease, help with blood flow, help with endothelial function. But it's a kicker to me that people are so scared of chiropractors when their malpractice insurance is $15 a year or something ridiculously low.
Very low.
It's so low. And then medical doctors, death by doctor, when you're getting proper care, when you're properly diagnosed, when you're properly prescribed the right prescription for that diagnosis. People still die every single day, and Dr. John Bergman talks about this. Death by doctor is like a fully loaded 747 or 757 plunging out of the sky every single day in America.
Yeah. I mean, so a couple things on that. Okay, the stroke thing. You are already going to have a stroke. It's not that the chiropractor caused it. It's that the chiropractic adjustment opened up those blood vessels and encouraged the stroke to happen. But regardless if you went or not, that would still happen. But you are more likely to stroke out at a hairdresser's office or at a salon when you put your neck back into the bowl, because it is opening up those blood vessels again. And that is more common than having that instance at a chiropractic office. So again, either way though, regardless if you went to the chiropractor or the salon, that stroke is still onset, still happening, it's still in process. It's just sped up by the movement of the neck. I was scared to get adjusted, but not in the beginning. I was really excited about getting adjusted in the beginning. I developed a fear over my course of adjustments and remembered all the times that I would see action movies where they would just twist the head and then the person would die. So I thought, okay, is this really possible? So the doctor I currently work with, I asked him when I first met him, can you kill me? And he was like, are you asking me to? Like, what are you asking? He's a big joker. But no, he was like, what do you mean? And I said, well, I gave him the example of the action movies and stuff. And he was like, no, the force that it takes to actually do that is just ridiculous. Like, no chiropractor really has that strength and amount of force to do that. And it would be so insanely impossible. So that kind of put it at ease for me. But there was one other thing I wanted to mention about chiropractors. Some people are hesitant to start chiropractic because they hear once you start, it becomes almost like an addiction, or do you have to continue it for the rest of your life to see the benefits? And yes, you do. I always tell people I will never, ever stop doing chiropractic just because I know the benefits of it. I've seen it in my life. I've seen it in my family's life. I've seen it in so many other people's lives where they're on like plenty of medications and a month in they're off their medications. So it's a no-brainer to me. I will always do it. And it's well worth the money. I've not always received free chiropractic just because I work at an office. We've paid for care, and we've definitely financially sacrificed in a way to be able to make it work. And so I would encourage anyone to really understand the price, that it's actually very much worth it because it's affecting your whole life. And on that note, there was this woman, she came in, she was like 70, and she was already working 2 jobs and taking care of her husband who had like some kind of mental issue, and just to afford care she got a 3rd job at like 70 years old. It was insane, but she knew that it was worth it, and so she did it. And so I just want to encourage you guys not to make excuses that you don't have the money for it, because there's many ways to pay for it or get a 3rd job like that lady.
That is one of the hardest things to deal with when it comes to natural health modalities in general, is so many times I'll be suggesting a supplement or an herb or something to someone, and they'll say, oh, well, I take a pharmaceutical for that. And I'm like, okay. And then they say, yeah, insurance pays for it.
Yep. Here's the thing. Insurance is not looking out for your health benefit. I check insurance benefits for people every day, except for Saturdays and Sundays. And so often people will get 12 to like 30 chiropractic adjustments per year, which is not bad because it didn't used to be covered a couple years ago. But insurance is not looking out for your total health benefit, because really you need about 70 adjustments for your first year to achieve correction. So insurance is like really way low in what they're approving. Now, someone told me this who lived in Europe, who was a patient of ours, that chiropractic is 100% covered in Europe. And that does not surprise me because they're way ahead of the game.
In some respects, yeah, like GMOs are illegal,
So
food
many
additives are illegal, yeah,
In the
chemicals,
beauty industry,
yeah.
There's so many things right there. But anyways, my whole view on it, just regarding finances with any health related thing, if you're going alternative directions, is like most people prize the value of their car, and most people do the necessary and sometimes above what's necessary work for their car to run. And it's a no-brainer. And my thought is, we're so much more damn valuable than a freaking car. And we have 90-ish years on this life, and I think that we need to invest in ourselves and make sure that we're giving ourselves the best thing. And just because it's costly, or just because, you know, like some people say that it just costs too much. Well, getting sick from eating crappy or getting sick from not taking care of yourself is going to cost you in the end. So either way, you're going to pay money. Might as well do it in the front end and really protect your life and protect your body. And it's really not that expensive, in my opinion, and it's worth it. So that's my 2 cents. I don't have any more.
You can't put sugar in a gas tank and expect your car to run good, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't do
what,
that.
Americans consume, 50 pounds of sugar to 100 pounds of sugar per year? Which back, I think, 100 years ago, 200 years ago, was probably 1 pound of sugar per year.
A lot. And at that time,
exponentially gross.
And at that time, sugar was reserved to actually help the body. There was a period in time where sugar was good for the body because it was in such low doses.
And it wasn't
modified.
High fructose corn.
Yeah.
Insulin resistor.
Pure,
raise insulin resistance.
Pure sugar. It was what's it? The brown one.
Oh, Rapidura sugar.
Yeah, it was.
That was
Rapidura.
one. Yeah, it's minimally processed. They didn't even take out the.
It's the real
molasses.
brown sugar, people.
Yeah, I was thinking about making a video on that, but we're talking about something else today. Anyways, yeah, pay the grocer today or the doctor tomorrow.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about being a natural health practitioner like myself is that I'm working not to diagnose, not to treat a disease or illness, not to do anything but to work with your body's natural abilities to bring it into alignment and health in a natural way.
Right.
There's so many skeptical people out there that, you know, I was one of them. Once upon a time, I didn't believe that echinacea could benefit anybody because there's no double-blind, placebo-controlled studies that suggest it. And little did I realize the herbs in this world are very cheap, inexpensive, and not patentable. You can't patent them. So the amount of money out there for those studies is very minimal.
Yeah.
And there's 2 people in particular I've heard of recently, Dr. Richard Horton of The Lancet and Dr. Marcia Engel. She was the New England Journal of Medicine editor-in-chief for 20 years. Both of them said you can't really trust medical studies today. Reluctantly, they came to that conclusion. Dr. Richard Horton's quote said that medical science has taken a turn to darkness. That whole quote is awesome. And Marcia, she said she reluctantly came to that conclusion.
Yeah. That's very true.
There was another well-known doctor and teacher who said that during anybody's medical training that probably half of what they learn is going to be false, and by the time they graduate, the problem is they're not going to know which half is false.
The sad part about all of it, I mean, and I think I learned this, even though he's kind of turned, I learned a lot from, who's that guy? Who's the funny YouTuber who now thinks all the stuff that he once said was good is now bad?
We're not going to mention any names.
We won't mention any names, but there's this guy.
There's plenty of them
who
out
used
there.
to always put out studies, and he would like go through line by line with these studies. And what's so interesting that I saw pointed out over and over again is like the title might say one thing, but the manipulation within the study was so real. Like, I don't know. Like they were looking at like something that was in part related to the title, so the title gave off this effect that like, hey, chocolate is actually really good for you, and then they would look at something that's like barely related.
Basically, he's a very big, large, influential guy who was just in a Netflix documentary, and also he used to be a big guy who followed the money. That was his core YouTube thing. Every single video that came out was him following the money of who paid for these studies. And there was one that talked about how Snickers candy bars or other candy bars or something were better for your health simply because compared to raisins, they're low in sugar. And
Yeah.
guess who paid for that study? And the other part of that was now all his videos come out are fear-mongered based.
Yeah.
It doesn't show me actual study info for data for people who get sick of XYZ. It doesn't show who paid for these studies. But yeah, he's on national talk shows now here and there, and yeah. So
Anyways.
a little complicated, don't really want to mention any names, but
you just have to pay
people
attention.
turn.
And the
for
whole
whatever reason.
And the whole scientific thing that he just brought up was just like, there's so much manipulation, like in certain things. Like for me, real life testimony. I had open heart surgery when I was 6 months old, and I was under the impression, just because all the doctors had either never mentioned it or only mentioned certain aspects. But when I became pregnant, the biggest fear-led facts, if you want to call them facts, that were given to me was that cardiac arrest and the chance of that were so much greater because I had the open heart surgery and because I was pregnant. Now, I did my own research a couple weeks ago and found that the type of surgery I had, the type of malformation that I had in the beginning, and with how quickly it was repaired at 6 months old, that put me in a less than 1% chance of having cardiac arrest during my pregnancy and during my labor. And that is just so annoying because I have spent tons of time worrying about dying in labor because of those things that were told to me, but they were never specific about it's less than 1% chance. So you got to do your own research, unfortunately, and a lot of times it's really hard because it's all medical jargon most people aren't going to understand. But that's frustrating because they're supposed to be for us. But anyways, back to chiropractic. Go get adjusted. It's the best thing in the world.
Take your B vitamins.
Take your B vitamins and go get adjusted. Anything else?
I think that's a pretty good video. I don't really have much else to share.
Maybe we should cover, I don't know.
Yeah, if you guys want to have any questions, feel free to leave it in the comments or email me.
Yeah, and we'll make a video on whatever you guys are interested in hearing about because we've got a lot of things we could share, but we'd
for
love
natural health, and whatever. So, but yeah, definitely, guys. Thanks for watching. Check out some of these other videos. I could throw up some playlists, or if you'd like to help support the channel, you could check out these videos and affiliate links that I've put in the descriptions. But anyways,
like, share, subscribe.
Like, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening.
Stay happy and
Stay healthy. And yeah.
See you guys in the next video.